Alright, in this next section we're going to be solving something called a quadratic equation. Okay, a quadratic equation is an equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now on the left side here, this ax squared plus bx plus c is simply a polynomial of degree 2. Okay, so there's a degree 2 term, a degree 1 term, a constant, and then a 0 on the other side of the equation. And when you have an equation in this form, it can be proven that the solution to this equation will always, there's actually going to be two solutions. First of all, because the exponent 2 here, because it's a second degree equation, you can have up to two solutions. The solutions are represented by a formula that we're going to call the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is this. It says that the x value that solves the equation will be equal to, and it's going to be a combination of the a, b, and c here, but it's quite a complicated formula. Okay, so bear with me as I write this out. It's negative b, so the opposite of that middle number, plus or minus. That's where we get our two different answers from, one with a plus, one with a minus. There's a square root with a lot of stuff underneath. Under the square root is a b squared, that's this middle term squared, minus 4 times a times c. Right, that's 4 times the first term times the last term. Okay, now then this whole thing is divided by, so it's a giant fraction, it's divided by 2 times that a value. Okay, and that's the whole formula. Now it does look kind of messy. Okay, one thing I want to mention is that each of these letters, A, B, C, represent only the coefficient or the constant. We do not ever plug in the x's to this formula. Okay? So A is the coefficient of x squared. B is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant. Okay? And any of those values, any of these three values can be any number. Okay? So a can be any number, b can be any number, c can be any number, with one exception, and that is you cannot divide by 0. Right? Division by 0 is undefined, and so that a value cannot be 0. Okay, that's the only condition on those three numbers. All right, everything else, a, b, and c could be anything. All right, now just a quick example. I'll do an example here, and then give you some more examples in the next couple videos. So let's run through one. Like, we'll do one that's a little bit more basic, and then we'll kind of increase the difficulty as we go. So let's try one like x squared minus, let's go with 5x minus 14 equals 0. Okay, so again, we get an equation like this. It's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, but notice the a, b, and c look a little bit different than they did up here. The a value isn't actually written in. There's nothing obviously multiplying the x squared, so that just means that the a value is 1. Okay, coefficient of x squared, if there's nothing written in there, is just 1. The b value includes the negative. So anytime there's a minus in there, you include it. So instead of plus b, you're really looking at plus -5 there. So the b value is -5. And same thing for the c here. The c value is -14. All right, and so we're going to take those three numbers, plug them into the formula, and then simplify it out. So we're going to start out. When I plug things into this quadratic formula, first of all, I like to write the formula out each time that I do this problem, or each time that I do a problem like this. Since I already have it here, I'm not going to do that, but generally speaking, I would write the formula and then start plugging things in. So I'm going to start by replacing each of the letters with a set of parentheses. And I think it's very important that you do this, especially early on as you're learning this, because it will help you to do the order of operations correctly when simplifying it. Okay, so everything on the top line that's a variable, the b becomes parentheses, the b here, the a, and the c. And then on the bottom, you have the 2 and a set of parentheses. So everything that's a variable becomes a parenthesis. Then we plug in each of those numbers. So I'll do that in another color so it stands out. The b value becomes -5. Well, the b is this first number outside the root and the number inside the root. So that'd be a -5 here and a -5 here. The a value, there's one here and here, one on top, one on the bottom, that will be the 1. So we'll get a 1 right there and a 1 right there. And then the c value, there's only one of those, that's the -14. Okay. Once they're plugged in, then we use the order of operations to simplify. A double negative here makes this into a +5. I'm going to do a couple operations at a time because of the way things are separated. They won't influence each other. So I can do this -5 squared. A negative squared is always positive, and so -5 squared is +25. Okay, then I have the -4 times 1 times -14. All those things can be multiplied together because multiplication is commutative and associative, so it doesn't matter what order I do those in. So 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 14 is what's that, 56? And so that's going to be a 56. The double negative makes that a plus, right? -4, -14 is +56. 2 times 1 is 2. And then we continue to simplify. So under the root, we can add those together. 25 plus 56 is 81, which works out very nicely because the square root of 81 is something that we have seen. It's 9, right? We can calculate that. So we get 5 plus or minus 9 all over 2. All right, now here's where the plus minus comes in. We've got to simplify on top of the fraction. And so when I do this, I'm going to have two different answers. One of them, I'll split this up here. One of them is going to use the plus. The other one is going to use the minus. And so with the plus, we would have 5 plus 9 over 2. And with the minus, we would have 5 minus 9 over 2. And that's going to give us our two different numbers. 5 plus 9 is equal to 14. And 14 over 2 is equal to 7. 5 minus 9 is equal to -4. And -4 over 2 gives us -2. And so our final answers, there's going to be two of them, are 7 and -2. Okay? Now, in the upcoming videos, you're going to see that I'm putting the answers in what we call a set form. That's just a formality. I'm not going to expect you guys to do that However, the videos that I'm showing you for the rest of the examples are videos that I'm including for another class as well, and they are required to do the set form. So you're going to see this show up in the other videos. It's just a formal way of writing the answers with the -2 and the 7 put in these braces. It's called set notation. Again, I won't require you guys to do this in Math 099, but at other levels I do, and so the videos I make here are going to be utilized for both classes.